Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another FHP podcast episode. I'm your host, Antonio Capos, alongside Ben Rutledge. Getting into this one, we're going to talk about, this is our final draft preview before the day of, and we're just going to kind of reminisce upon our past deadline experiences, going back through the years when we were in high school together, when we were in middle school together. We've been here for a long ride, man. It has been a hell of a long time.
Way back in grade 8 when you invited me into my first ever fantasy hockey league, and who knew it would take us all the way here. Now, not gonna lie, none of my trades are that far in the past. I know yours are definitely a little more, but mine are not that historic, not gonna lie.
Well, I mean,
but yeah,
the Bruins were just better back then, so it makes sense.
So are Leafs.
No.
We were.
Bruins were always better. Let's be so for real. Anyway, kicking it off. So we're gonna start. Our first one's gonna be like our most memorable / like favorite deadline move, which is just probably gonna be for our favorite teams because
it's going to.
We're both biased.
Like, let's be real. Everyone who is doing this, if you ranked your favorite deadline move, it would be your team's trade. So,
our second's gonna be like most shocking move, and then the third's like what we thought was the best fit at the time. So yeah, we'll get right into it. We're going to start again. Our first one is going to be our favorite deadline move of all time. All right. So Ben, which one that stands out the most for you?
All right. The one that stands out the most for me, the one that definitely got me the most excited in just hearing the name being traded is when we acquired Ryan O'Reilly at the deadline of the 2022-2023 NHL season. We acquired him for a first, second, third, fourth, if I remember correctly. That was the acquisition price, which I really think was for Ryan O'Reilly, making like $2 million. I think he was maybe double retained because that was still a thing back then. So he was making like no money. I mean, it's the best 3C I've ever seen in a Leafs uniform. I mean, he was disgusting. It was Leafs, so we put a lot of pressure on him, obviously, because it's probably the biggest name we've acquired at the deadline in a really long time. And so it was exciting. And I think that definitely hurt him a little bit. Big reason why I didn't want to extend, he was not interested in that. But I think from pure excitement, I was super excited. I mean, he scored the OT winner scored the OT forcing one in game 6 that forced a game 7, if I remember correctly. Something like that. He scored a massive OT goal for us against Tampa in the series we won. He was on the team that won the first Leaf series of my lifetime, so a lot of happy memories around him.
Yeah, I can remember some of those.
Times. Dude, I remember jumping in the 64-degree pool with Ian and Spencer after we won, bro.
I
remember
hate watching.
Clowning you, Azim, and Matt, bro. You, Azim, and Matt were hate watching.
Yeah,
you wore
I was
Bruins jersey, and he wore a
Bruins
Canadiens
jersey.
Yeah,
I
know you were, and Azim wore an Oilers jersey. You guys were all actively hate watching.
I mean, if you think of that package for Ryan O'Reilly, he's basically almost as good as Tanner Chanot. Chanot got a first, second, third, fourth, and fifth.
Let Tampa cook. I actually think that was the same deadline too.
Yeah, which is even more insane.
But Chanot had years left and was younger.
Yeah, and now he's on the Bruins.
Bro, you score 20. If you score 20 goals in one of your first 2 NHL seasons and you're below the age of 24 when you do it, 3 years minimum before the league gives up on you. It's insane. That's what he did. He scored 20 goals and he had 10 fights. Or scored 25 goals and had 10 fights in his rookie year when he was 23. And everyone held on to that for way too long.
$4 million. Here you go, pal.
Dude, he is the greatest agent of all time.
He does. He just does.
His agent is the GOAT. Anyway, given that guy is even on either of our lists, let's reel it back in here. And Capo, who is your favorite deadline acquisition?
Mine was probably in the season that I think I watched about 70 games. I don't think I watched every single one. I don't think I've ever gotten that. But might have been 70, 75. It was the 2021-22 season, I believe, while Krejci was still playing. And I remember there were rumors out there between the Bruins and the Sabres that we might get Taylor Hall and Jack Eichel.
I think it was 2020, 2021. Pretty sure it's the bubble year. he got him, but yes.
Okay, we were this close to getting both of them. Imagine what the Bruins would be like today if we still had Jack Eichel. That would be elite. Anyway, we got Taylor Hall and Curtis Lazar for a second and a fourth, that's a steal.
And you got
Anders.
For
a previous
traded Anders Bjork too, actually.
Where is he now?
I don't know, but they traded him for like a fourth or fifth 2 years, 3 years later.
That's elite, man. But
Man,
Taylor Hall with David Krejci, oh my God. That fixed our secondary scoring issue. But, dude.
I was stretching my eyes. Legit, that had nothing to do with that. I was literally just stretching out my eyes. I literally went like.
I thought you were mocking me, bro. Taylor Hall with David Krejci.
He was really good. He was really good for you guys. Those first 3 years he had him, he was nasty.
Yeah, and then eventually, father time.
Yeah, well, he's just been pretty good this year. He's like 10. He's like 14 goals, I think. Anyway.
All right, let's keep her moving. Most shocking trade deadline moment of all time.
I have to go back only a year. I was really trying to think, and I was looking through old deadlines, looking at pictures. It's rare that we see a really big name move to the deadline, which is why there's not that many truly, truly shocking trades. Brad Marchand of the Florida Panthers last year was one of those trades. I was like, I cannot believe the Bruins pulled the trigger. Not only did they pull the trigger, they sent him to the defending Cup champs in your own division for a second round pick, which was a fleece if they didn't win the Cup. If they did not win the Cup, that would be one of the worst trades in Bruins history.
Maybe I still think you lose it. Go out
you still lose it. You still lose it, but
part of me
you acquired a first round pick.
Part of me wonders whether they had a deal in place with Marchand. All right, you'll come back, right? If we trade you to them and you're expiring, you'll come back after you do the playoff run.
That may have happened, and then he won the Cup, and he's like, yeah.
And he got a taste of Florida life, and he saw the Florida lifestyle, and he was like, I ain't going back.
I ain't leaving. I don't know.
We're not going home.
It's hard to say. That is actually very fitting as we get into some Bobrovsky talks later, that there's some talk that exact thing would happen, that they would trade him and then literally just sign him back in the offseason. Yeah. But anyway, we'll get into that a little later.
Well,
what was your most shocking?
Yeah. So my most shocking, I'm going an hour even further than you to the Mikko Rantanen trade that happened on the same day in 2020.
Oh, I guess, yeah, true. The second one. I was thinking of the first one.
Yeah, to Dallas.
Yeah, damn. I mean, I probably would have called the one away from Colorado more shocking for sure. But I guess that's not really a deadline one. That was a solid 10 days before the deadline that trade happened. But bro, I remember I was at Zach's preing to go to the bar. And I remember the trade came through, and me and Uggam, I literally was like, what?
I never expected Colorado to get rid of Rantanen. I thought that him, McKinnon, Makar, you're set for life. Why would you ever mess with that? I mean, they're still a dynasty now without him, so apparently he wasn't that important.
Not really call it dynasty, but yeah.
Dude, they
won one Cup. They went to a Cup that was both with Rantanen, and they've traded him. And I mean, it's only been a year, but they haven't made it to the Cup in 3 years. I mean,
I guess so, but there's I mean, look at the year they're having and the start.
I get that, year, but God, it doesn't fucking matter until the playoffs.
Yeah, that's true, actually.
Anyway.
Yeah, but then I thought for sure once he went to Carolina, it's okay, it's his show.
Yeah.
They'll do it. And then he turns around and they send him to Dallas of all places, which is kind of insane. In division with.
Look, I guess that he went to Dallas, who's literally Colorado's biggest rival.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was crazy.
And I think even though we knew it was coming, it was still crazy to me that it ended up happening. A big name like that getting traded twice, especially in a short span is.
And then it's crazy how well it's just immediately worked in Dallas too.
Yeah.
They're nasty. All right. Final one. The best fit, the one where we just were that team needed that so desperately and they got the perfect player to fill that. Team that I can think of, the 2020 2023-24 trade deadline, which was 2 years ago. I think, right?
3 years ago. I'm stupid. It's 2 years ago. You're right.
Yeah. The Dallas Stars acquiring Chris Tanev from the Vancouver Canucks at the time. They had a massive hole on the right side. They acquired him, and then they had Harley, Heiskanen, Lindell, Tanev as their top four, and that was nasty.
Is that the year they went to the Cup? This year they went to the Cup.
They went to the Cup
Tampa,
final,
right?
or they went to the not the Cup. No, the Cup final. That was in the 2020. No, they lost to the Oilers in the conference final. They've been to the Dallas Stars have lost in the conference final 3 years in a row. The Stars have lost in the conference final 3 years in a row.
Buddy, COVID's not a real thing. It was just a time lapse.
All
right. Yeah, I agree. That was a nasty move for them.
That's just exactly what they needed, and it worked. Like, it almost got them a cup.
Yeah, I, however, think mine was better because that's just the person I am. And mine was 2018-19, Matt Duchene to the Columbus Blue Jackets. At the time, the President's Trophy winners and best record of all time, Tampa Bay Lightning, losing 4 to the very team that Matt Duchene is leading in Columbus.
Well, Panarin was leading it, but yeah, he was he was.
Well, they were both
the
on the
2C that they needed. No, they had Johansson at the time. They had Ryan Johansson, who was like nasty.
No, Ryan wasn't he on the second line? I swear Duchene was first.
Yeah, I don't know. He could have played the wing. He plays all over. I don't know, but he was a much needed top 6 edition.
Oh my god,
he was a much needed top 6 edition.
Yeah.
Yep. I'm looking it up now.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you. I was gonna eat at me at night. Nevertheless, though, that team had no business sweeping Tampa. The fact that they even won this series is insane. It's like actually a curse. Like, if you set the regular season record in a year, like, you're just gonna get eliminated in the first round. Bruins have done it twice. We got an update? Do you know?
It's hard. It's hard to find a team specific lineup from like multiple years ago. Not gonna lie.
Yeah, I guess that's fair.
Okay, I got the year right. I'm just looking at like the points.
I feel like that's also going to be hard though.
This team is good.
Dude, post deadline, they were nasty.
They still had PLD.
They
might not have even had Johansson. I think PLD and Duchene were their like two. Oh, they left PLD as a left winger. Dubinsky, I'm guessing that was the 4C. Dzingel, they listed as center. Boone Jenner, Riley Nash, Alex Wenberg, Alex Texier, 19-year-old Alex Texier. Anyway, they actually didn't even have Ryan Johansson. I was tripping.
Okay, thank you.
So I think he probably was the 1C.
They brought him in to be their 1C. I was fairly certain that was the case.
Yeah. Well, they were playing PLD on the wing at the time, so yeah.
Yeah.
You didn't know that. Man. You didn't know that. Don't act like you knew that.
No, I didn't know he was on the
wing. I knew PLD was on the wing.
But I knew Duchene was on the first line as the center. I knew that.
Okay. Yes.
Thank you. Will you admit I was correct?
Yes. I already said that.
That's all I needed. I just wanted the reaffirmation, you know?
All right. Let's get to the intro, bro.
Okay. All right, we are back from the intro. FHP episode 97 is now underway. How have you been? Have you been in life? I know I just saw you a couple hours ago and toasted your ass in basketball.
Been good. Honestly, biggest update I have since we last recorded is I've done a ton more exercise. Antonio and I got after it at the gym. I had intramural flag football, I had intramural on ice hockey, I had intramural basketball. Just played basketball for like 2.5 hours with 2 hours with Antonio. Getting back after it, trying to be more active, be more healthy. And Antonio and I kind of on the fitness journey together, both, working on opposite things, we'll say, but both share the same goals in mind. And so, yeah, that's really the biggest update I have. Otherwise, just been, doing school and really actually grinding FHP with some trade deadline content prep.
Real, man. FHP has been a good, solid third of my life currently.
Yeah, I would agree. And that's not really going to change. That's not really going to change till Saturday.
Yeah, you're probably right. God, man.
Actually, that totally reminded me of this. Feel the need to remind you, we got baited by ESPN. Okay, we're aware that the trade deadline is Friday, March 6th at 3 p.m. For those of you listening and heard us reference it as Saturday, March 7th multiple times, I literally Googled it and it said it was Saturday, March 7th. And ESPN, I have a screenshot that I sent to Antonio that literally shows ESPN say it's March 7th, and then like the hockey writers say it's March 6th. And so, that's hand of accountability moment. I'll own that.
You're basically a sheep.
Yeah, we just feel like we need to clarify. You fully were on board with that too, so do not act like you are innocent here, but feel like you need to clarify that.
Well, I trusted you.
Our viewers know we know what we're talking about.
I trusted you, and I assumed that you weren't a sheep. So
all right, buddy. Enough.
I thought you would actually do research on this sort of thing.
How have you been? You got any important life updates?
We kind of talked about it. I snuck into Rutledge's intramural basketball game the other night, so that was electric. Put up a good
Monday night.
Put up a good 5-minute shift, 3 rebounds, as one does.
We had a good comeback. We were down a 20-minute halves allegedly, although I think they're closer to 18, especially when they're at midnight, which is crazy. But
yeah, they're definitely
down 13-3 at halftime, and yes, it's 2s and 3s. Down 13-3 at halftime, come back, win like 33-27, something like that.
Right. You won by free throw.
What am I talking about? What am I talking about? Yeah, I completely forgot the fact that it went to double OT to the point where double OT, which just became next basket wins, and it ended on a free throw.
And I'll let you know, I know exactly the score because I was watching from the bench the whole time. It's great.
That is true. I was not. I was playing. So it was actually an electric game.
Next time, when I start repping more and they see my game, they'll understand.
Exactly the value.
We
need a center, and you're a center. So
I mean, except for when we play guys that are 6'5" or over. Apparently, guys, we played a 2v2 today,
dude.
And we were up 10-1. We were up
hit
10-1.
5 threes in a row. I hit 5 threes in a row to put us up 10-1, and we lost. We lost 15-13. Yeah, we lost 15.
Yeah, 15-13.
Up to 11.
I'll have you know, I hit the 3 points in overtime.
But I hit one. I had to step back in the middle. That was my only point in OT, which I am aware.
You're right. But yeah, this guy was literally just like his hands were just over my head the whole time. I couldn't.
Dude, we could jump and we could not reach top of his hands. We probably couldn't even reach the bottom of his hands like this. So he could just catch it and reshoot.
I just stopped jumping. I was like, all right, well, let's just.
And we didn't know these guys, so I'm not just gonna, right in the stomach, which is what I would have done if I knew him.
Well, and we were gassed. We'd already played like 6 1v1 games.
Yeah, I won every single one, and he didn't score more than 4 points. So and it was up to 11.
That's insane, bro. You know that I had.
Sorry. The last game you got 7 when I stopped playing defense because I was up. You did not get 9. You did not get 9. This is propaganda. You had 7.
You got afraid.
No, because I remember you got to 7, and I was like, all right, I got to start playing defense here, and I hit a 3, I hit a 1. 10-8. It was 10-8. It was 11-8. It was 11-8.
Yeah. Because I also put up a good fight in the first one. It was basically the difference
you
was
like
the
4
first
points. You had 4 points. And then the next three, I think you had like 3-2-1 almost in the next three after that.
Dude, I'm fairly certain it was 7 points in the first game. And then
it was 4.
Off.
I know for a fact it was 4. I know it was 4-3 were the first two.
Our cardio started up here. Mine dropped, and then yours dropped. And that's why
because we had the first game, which was 7-3 that we just aborted playing on. Then we started a series, and I beat you 11-4, 11-3, 11-2. Because I remember I was thinking the text I was going to send to our group chat, being like, just 1v1 Antonio 4 times in a row and didn't even score 5 points in one game. Like, that's how I know you didn't, because I was gearing up for that text.
Yeah. It's all right. We'll be back. I haven't played basketball in a minute. And also, it was really just, it was over after game 2.
I also found my stat, bro.
Yeah.
I for the first time in like a year and a half, like a rhythm that I've not had for a long time, I found it.
That's awful. It's actually awful. Anyway, we're working.
Let's get refocused.
Okay.
No, what do you guys say? What do you
no, say? I don't even need to say it. I was going to diss myself, and I don't even need to say it anymore.
Okay, you know what?
I was going to diss myself.
You know what? There's not really anything else to talk about in other sports, by the way. Pretty much everything we listed is still the case. We're just getting closer. World Baseball Classic started today, officially, I believe. Otherwise, F1, March Madness, NFL free agency. Further than that, we got Masters, we got NFL draft, we got NBA, NHL playoffs. So it's really MLB returning. It's a really good time to be a sports fan. So let's move on and get into our first hockey segment. Capo, send it over to you to introduce it. You like that? To introduce it.
Yeah, what is that? All right. So
I don't know what happened there.
Dude, we need to lock it in, bro. The rhythm is just not, unlike your basketball shot, our rhythm is not on tonight. Like, even
I know.
All right. So our first hockey segment is projecting the biggest fantasy winners and losers of the deadline. So basically what's going to happen is obviously, the deadline is coming up. And so we have a general idea of who's going to get moved. And so right now we're going to go through, like, if people get moved, what the effect's going to be on them, why, if you should pick them up, if you should go trade for them, that sort of thing. Yeah. We're not going to like micromanage, tell you potential trades like we have in the past. That'll be for another time, maybe like after the deadline. But this is really about getting on it early. So it's like before the trades actually happened, if people are not in the loop, if they're not tapped in, this is when you go get them so that it's cheap.
Especially those less big name players, or those players we've heard of less in rumors. Rumors have heavily been surrounding like Thomas and Garland. And then obviously we had some deals flying this afternoon and tonight that we'll get into. But like there are some pretty big name, like big enough name players that they'd be fantasy relevant, but not big enough name that they would like be difficult to acquire, and you can get some really sneaky early value before the deadline. So while Capo munches on a Krispy Kreme donut, I will get us started. So the first player I have is an under the radar guy, someone 1,000% on waivers in almost all of your leagues who are listening, and that is Kent Johnson. Saw a report earlier from, I think, LeBron or Chris Johnson that it's more likely he'll be traded than not. Just looking for a fresh start. They've been playing him on the fourth line. It's not been working. And I use Igor Chinnikov as an immediate example. That's a guy that was in Columbus, very similar situation, got an opportunity in a top 6 somewhere and is taking advantage of it. I think Kent Johnson is a more talented player than Chinnikov. I think if he's in the top 6, regardless of the team, if he's getting top 6 minutes and the coaching staff trusts him and believes in his development, last year he was a massive fantasy player. He had like 65 points. Like he clearly has it in him. So I think he's someone that I'm keeping an eye on over the waiver wire. And if he gets traded to more of a rebuilding team that gets a top 6 opportunity, he's someone that I like as an ad.
Yeah, I love that move. There's so many good young players on the
and he's free. Like he's going to be free. And so I really think if he's traded and he gets an elevated opportunity, he's a must add.
I have nothing else to add on that. I love
Beautiful.
That take.
Who's number 1?
All right, for me, Mackenzie Weegar is number 1. He was actually just traded, so this is a little bit delayed. We're recording this at what time is it?
10:45 on March 4th. So Wednesday, March 4th.
The trade literally happened, I think, an hour and a half ago, and so we've just kind of been firing off trades on the FHP Instagram as one does, and now we finally get a chance to record. But I think this is a great move from him. He's going to be on the I don't know if he's going to be on power play 1. Definitely power play 2 if he's not power play 1 over there in Utah. But the quality of players he's going to be playing with, he'll be playing first pairing with Sergachev unless they do something really goofy. And he'll be on a team that's really going to make a push. Now he probably puts them over the edge and actually makes them considered a contender. I don't know that you could consider them a
contender. I would say they're certainly pushed above the playoff contender into the playoff lock category. I don't know whether they'd be in that contender category, but I think they're in that playoff lock category.
Yeah, so playing on that first pairing, he's going to get lots of minutes with this more skilled team than obviously Calgary's been out of it for like a month now, maybe longer. But that's basically enough said. Like, it's time to go get him if you want. I'm not sure exactly how many points he's averaging in our Bangos, or the roster percentage really, but I think he will see a points increase over this last stretch heading into our fantasy playoffs, and definitely.
Yeah, so he's listed on Daily Faceoff. It's listed as Sergachev, Dursey, Ian Cole, Uyghur, and then Nate Schmidt-Marino, which is a really good decor, by the way. I could see that, and I'm not gonna lie. If he's second pair with Ian Cole, and he's not getting PP1 time, that's a massive drop off for him. I thought he was going to be playing first pairing with Sergachev, and I think so did you when you were making this. But if he genuinely is not first pairing,
well, we don't know anything yet. I don't think we need to jump to conclusions.
I get that.
Like
I get
Daily Faceoff.
I get that, but think about it, bro. Like, Ian Cole Dursey's not a good second pairing, and Schmidt-Marino's not a good second pairing either.
Ian Cole Dursey fits well,
but Ian Cole's not a second pairing defenseman. But when you play him with Uyghur, he can be a second pairing defenseman. And I think that Sergachev-Dursey pairing has been good this year. I mean, like, they're already in the playoffs. And Uyghur's really good defensively, and they're clearly acquiring him to be more of a defensive guy, saying Dursey and Sergachev are our guys.
I don't know, but like then you look at like a pairing like I don't have a superstar example of this, but like an example is like Carlo and Krug. Like, you need somebody who's going to stay home with your like superstar.
I get that, but Krug was PP1.
Yeah, Sergachev's PP1. You're going to have Uyghur is the guy that's going to stay home with him on the first pairing.
I get that, but like,
no, there's no way that Dursey's going to be PP2.
Dude,
they got to get Uyghur PP2.
Dursey's nasty on the power play. Like, I actually thought Dursey was their PP1 guy. Not gonna lie, like, he's that good on the power play.
I still think you got to give Uyghur the spot. There's no way.
I don't think you do. He's not that good. He wasn't when Anderson was there. When Anderson and Hannafin were there, he was not. He was very limited on the power play. Like, when there were other power play options in Calgary, they didn't use him. They were just using him because he was. Who else is it going to be?
I guess we're gonna have to wait and see. But I still think that they can play him first pairing. There's no.
I don't. I actually like that combination of top four better for them than if they stack the first pairing. Like, looking at that. Is McAvoy righty? Is McAvoy righty?
Yeah.
Yeah. See, why didn't they play Krug and McAvoy together? Because you don't necessarily want to play your best. So is Carlo.
Carlo's a lefty. Oh wait, you're right. Krug is a lefty. It's because we had Char. Yeah. Char was playing first pairing.
I get that, but like.
Char was better than Krug.
That's just uncomparable because that was so much better. But I don't know. I really see him. I was all on board that take with you because I was like, yeah, it'll be first pairing. But as I look at this, I'm like, bro, that configuration of the top four is much, much better with Uyghur on the second pairing and him losing power play time. Even if it was power play 2, most power play 2s get 40 to 30 seconds of the 2-minute power play to begin with. So even if he's on power play 2, that's not worthwhile power play time. And in a category league, this is a little different because he's pretty good at hits and blocks and shots, really all three already. So category league's a little different. Maybe Bangos league is a little different too, but I really think that point production could really hurt, much like Anderson's is in Vegas since leaving Calgary. I think we could see the same thing with Uyghur into a more diminished role on a better team. I could really see it. I'm not gonna lie.
Again, I think
I could really see him be asked.
It's completely dependent on the lines.
Yeah. And so I guess we'll report back to you after. So take that, whichever argument you like better, whichever pathway you see more likely. Feel free to listen to that, or you can just wait until we have a more concrete answer. But I guess that ruins the ability to like get on it early. But yeah.
All right. What's your
all right? Next
second
guy I
side
have
check X
is
for
Vincent Trocheck. This is
okay.
a pretty big name player who's already doing very well in New York. But obviously that's not a great situation. They're not winning a lot. They're not scoring a lot. And so that's going to hurt him. If he moving to a team, he's either 1C or 2C, most likely 2C, as most of the teams who've been checking in on him have a 1C. Like he's not going to take. I just don't see him taking like Eric Snack's role. I don't see him taking. He could actually. He could. So I think Minnesota is a little different, as I'm saying this more aloud. If he goes to Minnesota, and probably on that first line with Boldy and Kaprizov, he has potential to be the biggest league winner, biggest winner from the deadline. And so I think given that that's currently the favorite for him, I think get aggressive on Trocheck, because even if he ends up in Carolina or in Colorado, that's not a bad landing spot on either one of those. I really think he pushes Nelson to a 3C if he gets into Calgary, or pushes Nelson to the wing. And I think, but Minnesota especially, that has potential for electricity, him on that first line with Kaprizov and Boldy.
Yeah. I love either him or Kadri going to Minnesota. I think
Minnesota, I agree, because they desperately need a center.
Yeah.
I agree, but specifically referencing Trocheck, I think he has higher possibility to be a 2C than Kadri does. I think there's some teams, Colorado mostly, the Kadri could be a 3C, but I really think Trocheck would be the 2C on Colorado. And so I think he's for sure going to be upgraded, because the worst case scenario is he gets the same role on a better team. So that's why he has potential to be the biggest league winner, because his floor is so good. Like the worst he's getting is his same role on a better team. So obviously a guy that's going to cost a lot, but I think I would be willing to get aggressive and over trade a little bit with the hope / expectation he's getting moved.
A guy for me that's kind of similar is Jordan Binnington. He's a guy who's obviously on a team that's awful right now. We've already talked about it before, where he plays well when he needs to, really. And so that, like, on a team that is already out of playoff contention, he doesn't really have a reason to mentally lock it in. But if he's moved to, like, we've heard Sens, we've heard Vegas, we've heard Montreal, I think any of those destinations, he does much better than the Blues. And obviously that's going to come with wins for fantasy, and so that's going to help.
I think Ottawa, Montreal, Carolina, or Edmonton, which are the 4 teams that are in the goalie market, I think he ends up on any one of those 4. That's a massive upgrade. Even Ottawa, especially the other 3, excluding Ottawa, Tampa, Montreal, Carolina, Edmonton.
Dude, I've been saying, bro, I think he might go to Vegas. I could see it.
I did forget to mention Vegas too. That would also be a massive upgrade. And he's probably the starter. Like, he probably takes starter over,
dude, I think
Bussy in Carolina, which is really the only debatable one.
Yeah, if anybody trades for him, I think.
He'd be the starter. I'm just saying Bussy's been really, really good in Carolina.
Yeah, but that's the contract that he signed shows. The contract he signed, though, shows that they don't really respect him as the starter.
They're playing him like he is, and he's playing.
Well, because they have nobody else right now, really. Like, Freddie Anderson's not the answer. Kachekhov's hurt.
I get that. I'm just saying he's earned the ability to play more games than a typical backup would.
Yeah, it's true. That's true. It'd probably be more like
that's all. That's all I'm trying to say.
Yeah, that's fair.
It'd probably be a 45-55-esque split. Maybe 60-40, maybe 50-50. Anyway, that's nitty-gritty. It doesn't really fucking matter. All right. The next guy that I have is a little bit more of a risky one, and someone who also is probably on waiver wire in your league, and someone who definitely has the possibility to just be washed. I don't know why I'm being so vague. It's Jonathan Marchessault. He's had a really bad year in Nashville. He was quite good last year, however. Like, he was still a good player. But this year's just not been the same. Didn't get off to a good start. Team didn't get off to a good start. He's been demoted a little bit down the lineup. I think he is getting older, and so this dip in play could just genuinely be he's not very good anymore. But it sounds like both sides really want a fresh start. And when a player signs a long-term deal and then wants a fresh start in the second year of it, clearly there's some issues going on there behind the scenes. And so that's what gives me the pause. And this is another guy much like Johnson that I really think he moves to a new spot, gets a second line winger role. If he's on the third line, he's not fantasy relevant. It's just too hard with third line minutes to be fantasy relevant. But if he moves somewhere and ends up on the second line of a contending team, which is very much a possibility, I really like him as an ad. I really think he'd be a really good fit there. He's a good goal scorer. He knows how to play with superstars. And yeah, so assuming he's not washed, and I've not watched very much Nashville Predators hockey, sorry, don't think I'm alone here. Listeners, you're lying to yourself if you're saying you are. Sorry, Nashville fans. But yeah, think second line. If he's moved to a second line spot, he's a good low risk free addition, and I like him.
All right, my next guy. We did say this was winners or losers. Is Braden Shen. I think this is a guy who's going to be losing at the deadline pretty much regardless of whether he's traded or not.
He's like the opposite of a Trocheck.
Yeah, it's like, okay, if he goes somewhere else, he's going to probably be the 3C and not be on the power play. If he's on the power play, he's a PP2 guy. If he stays in St. Louis, they're selling aggressively right now, so it's not like he's going to have much help around him. Yes, he's going to get minutes, but he's not going to be doing all that.
Not going to be left with much of a top six. Yeah.
Yeah. So I think he's a guy that
I don't know if you heard that. Okay.
Yeah. We heard it. It's just your face was very delayed.
I know.
As per usual. It's a little bit. I'm not going to say that.
I don't pay for. I guess I do pay for this Wi-Fi, but like it ain't my Wi-Fi.
Yeah, that goes to say if you're able to sell him now, get rid of him. Who do you got for?
The next guy that I have is Dougie Hamilton. Now, this is a guy that is actually having a pretty good year. Outside of Trocheck, I think every player we're listing here, he's having a better year than. So another guy that in his current situation, if he's left alone, like he's still going to be fantasy relevant. He's still going to be a good player. But I think the Devils are looking to move him. They're looking to clear some cap. They're looking to kind of, give a logjam at defense. And so looking to give some other guys some opportunities. And I think he's still an elite power play defenseman. This year he showed it. He's cooking on the power play. He's cooking on 5-on-5, but especially on the power play. And I think most teams would be acquiring him have a little more cap space, which means they have a little more holes on their roster, which means he's probably still their power play one defenseman. Now going to a team that's contending, scoring more, winning more, and being the power play defenseman there, he's probably going to lose some. Like he's going to be probably second pairing 5-on-5, but he's going to be on a power play of a good team. That is noteworthy. That is upgrading from what he currently is. And so I think he has the potential. You could trade someone who's doing just as well as him. Because worst case scenario, you just took a basically lateral step, but best case scenario, he moves to a better situation on a more contending team and he can cook.
I love that. Mood. I actually had Dougie on my list before I saw that you had him.
We did a little swap.
Swapperoo. My next guy is, I think, the guy that has the potential to gain the most from this deadline, Elias Pettersson. Now, if this was real life, I would be worried about his contract, but seeing as this is fantasy and the cap hit does not matter whatsoever, this is the guy that's been an elite goal scorer before. And right now it's basically what it seems like from the outside. I'm not going to act like I know what's happening in his personal life, but it seems like with Vancouver being in a rut like they are right now, he's also personally in a rut, and with goal scorers, that can really affect them. So I think
he goes to the Olympics. Sorry to interrupt you, but he went to the Olympics. He cooked. It was a positive situation, positive leadership group, and he had a great tournament. He was one of Sweden's best players, and he comes back to Vancouver. It's been a week, and he's like, "Yeah, it's been a while since I've enjoyed hockey."
Yeah, and so I think they've both said in this situation that they want to change. There's a lot of interest out there for him. It's just Vancouver's not willing to retain that contract. If he does get moved, though, I think this is great for you, and in fantasy, he's definitely worth looking into, if especially if you hear rumblings about him being moved. I heard maybe Detroit is a place that he could end up, which I would love for.
That's the one I think is most likely at this point.
Yeah.
I think LA is unwilling to do Byfield, which is understandable from a team who's facing down the barrel of a rebuild with a pretty old roster. Mm-hmm. But I think Detroit has, the most cap space of a playoff team. They have like 40 million cap, something absurd.
Yeah.
And so they can
And if they
on
can get
the
him
deal.
and like a couple defensemen, look out, man. They're going to be a real wagon.
They get.
But anyway, you can still get Pettersson pretty cheap right now. So I think it's worth the risk. Honestly, I don't think you're going to have to give up all that much. And for the upside that he has, if he's going to get moved in 48 hours is definitely worth it.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree.
Right. Who's your last guy?
The last guy I have is actually an extraordinarily similar situation to Elias Pettersson, and that is Jordan Kyrou. Again, kind of in a less so toxic, it seems, more just he's having a bad year. I think he's quit on the season, which is kind of understandable at this point. He's just kind of looking forward. I think being traded to a team that's competing, being traded to a team that wants to win could really rejuvenate his interest. And I'm not saying that like he's lazy or he deserves hate for this. I think most players on bad teams, especially when they came into the year making the playoffs a season ago and expecting to be competing, and then they're not good, like that just happens. Like I can guarantee you half the Leafs lineup is checked out right now. Like that's just what happens. And so I think rejuvenating him, getting him back interested, like he's still a good player. He still has 70-point potential in him. He's still got 35, 40 goal touch in him. I think, just getting him rejuvenated, new situation, that alone will do it because he's a star player enough that like he's getting a top 6 role, maybe even first line. Like he's getting the minutes regardless. He has that stature. And so I just think really just rejuvenating him is the key. And I think he's also probably whoever owns him is probably pretty close to dropping him and like willing to drop him. So like you can get him for next to nothing, which is also makes it intriguing.
Yeah, I love that move. I think Kyrie's such a quality player. I think he'll definitely get his bearings again. My last guy is Bobby McMahon. And this is another guy where Bobby McMahon's in a pretty good situation right now with Toronto. I know, Ben, you can definitely talk to that. But if he goes anywhere else, he's probably not seeing top 6 minutes. Like realistically, he's not really that guy. Like you might probably going to be in the middle 6.
He'll
most
be a
likely third liner.
He's a third liner. Like he was last year's on a third line, if that tells you anything.
Yeah. So that said, he's not going to be on the power play and probably either of them. And he's basically going to become fantasy irrelevant. So I don't think a 1-for-1 trade is really going to get it done for McMahon. But if you want to do like a 2-for-2 and add McMahon in there as like a piece, seeing that he's like,
or even like a 2-for-1 in like a deeper league, like a 2-for-1, something like that.
He's definitely a guy that you could throw in there before he becomes basically a drop, and then you see him on one of our ads and drops of the week.
Yeah, get rid of him. It's just simply that simple.
All right, we'll move to the next section now that we're through our winners and losers. Just more general recent NHL news. And there's been a lot, honestly. Like we thought that there was going to be none for a while, and then it kind of all blew up at around like 7:30, 8 o'clock tonight. Maybe a little earlier, 7.
Something like that, yeah.
Obviously, we had McCarron as the opener for this kind of deadline season. Sorry, Connor Murphy. What am I talking about? Connor Murphy was the first one to Edmonton, which was a great move by them. Him for a second is, I'd say, is right on market price, if not a little bit under, for a quality second pairing defenseman.
I thought that was a great deal. I think like he's a very clear probably 4, pushes Nurse to that third pairing. And like that's what you want. Like to get a second pairing guy for a second round pick, like that's about as good as you can get. I thought that was really good. He's gonna be a great addition to PK, and he's the right shot. It's hard to get better than that. Like that arguably value wise could be one of the best deals of the deadline, and it was the first one. Like I really like that move for the Oilers, man. Especially when you start to see what was traded after. I would say at the time I thought it was like good for both sides, but as I'm seeing what else is coming in on these trades, that's a really good trade.
Yeah, specifically the very next trade that came through, which was also for a second, which was Michael McCarron. It's a guy that's like, all right, like he's gonna be like a bottom 6 forward for you, and you just paid the same that somebody paid for a second pairing defenseman. Like,
yeah, I know.
What are we doing right now?
I think he can play
Nashville.
center, which helps. But like,
Okay,
yeah,
and he's bottom
Minnesota,
six.
man. Like, I now listen. I get obviously I'm Leaf biased, but like I'm like, dude, Lawton is better than that, and you could have probably gone second and third for Lawton, and you would have got it. And he's a significantly better player than McCarron. You know?
Oh yeah, 100%.
Like
I don't know.
yeah,
It's,
even like Holla,
I'm,
even like Holla, bro, on the same team. Like you're telling me they wouldn't take a second for Holla? Now I guess the only thing I can see is he's a 6'6" massive body. They might just have a plan to do so. Like he might fit into. They may have some coach. They may have some like they have Marcus Foligno. Like they may have some idea of where he fits being that big.
yeah,
it's the
but that's
only other
just
thing I can think about.
But that's just not good management then. Like if you're calling them like and I'd almost come in and be like, I want Holla for like a second.
Maybe that's
like,
also
no.
just maybe
and
that's
then you're
just
like, okay, how about like
price.
a third for McCarron?
Maybe that's just also the price.
Unless Nashville really values him highly, and then for some reason Minnesota really wanted him. It's really confusing. I don't know. And then we get the Cole Smith trade that goes through.
That was another one that I was like, Cole Smith again. Okay, you pick up a fourth liner for Vegas. Like he's definitely an upgrade. Like he's a solid player, but like to move a third and by all accounts, in every Golden Knights fan page we follow, they were like, that's a lot. Like to move that prospect and a third, they thought was a lot. Now, does that mean he's gonna be good? No, but it just means that he was relative. Like, sorry, the prospect is Christopher Sedoff. Sorry if I mispronounced that.
We'll figure it out when he plays NHL minutes.
But it does just sound like they felt like that player could have done a loan for Smith or the third loan for Smith. Both combined was just a lot. So Nashville's cooking on the depth trades.
It's true.
Dude, this is what I say, man. They're like, oh, it's a buyer's market. Like it really feels like it's a buyer's market out there. Every time I see those, I'm like, dude, like the seller wins every time.
Yeah, how is
like,
this a buyer's market? I don't know.
The sellers wins this the seller other than the Connor Murphy trade. I'm like, almost all of these I felt the seller has won.
To be fair, I feel like it was like a buyer's market for like especially like right defensemen. Like there's a lot of right defensemen. Everybody wanted to shop them. And then you get Connor Murphy who goes, we're about to talk about obviously Uyghur and Parayko later down the line. But like if they're getting sold
Tyler
before
Myers.
the deadline and people are trying to like get cut to the chase before everybody is, then as a buyer, you're not going to get as much value, you know? Like if
I know. I mean, I also just think the depth guys for second round picks is just like if I were a GM, I would trade 2 to 3 bottom sixers for a second or third every single deadline, every single time. Like, dude,
but then how about your chemistry? Like nobody's going to want to play for you. Nobody's going to want to play for you.
Obviously I'm being like facetious and you can't actually do that. I get that. But my point is I feel like this is the easiest trade to win as a seller is trading a bottom pairing, bottom six forward.
Yeah.
I just think you win every time as a seller.
Yeah. And then just use those trades the next deadline, I guess. But I don't know, man.
Obviously, we're getting
like what are the odds of like that second turning into a player that's actually going to play minutes for you? It's like 9%, right? So
yeah, but like, dude, Michael McCarron's like whatever. Like, there's going to be 17,000 Mike McCarrons in free agency in 4 months. You know what I mean? Like when you're not
17,000, but maybe
when you're not going to make the playoffs,
70.
What's the point in keeping those guys when you can get a second round pick? Which arguably I would turn around and be like, "Hey, Columbus, you want 2 2s and a 4 for Kent Johnson? You want 2 2s and 3 for Kent Johnson?"
Yeah,
and it's like, bro, you traded Michael McCarron times 2 and Cole Smith for Kent Johnson. That's what I mean. Where it's like, that's you know.
Well, if
now
you can flip
Johnson probably is more than that, but like I'm just saying hypothetically.
I mean, if you can flip all those picks same deadline, like if you have the time to do that, sure, you're going to be called GM of the deadline.
Yeah, I mean, you would. You just cook, but yeah. Anyway, a little deadline yap there for us, but got into a few signings as well. Ethan Frank, the rookie for the not the Blue Jackets, the Capitals, signs 2 years, $2 million. I like that a lot. I like players who have one thing they do really, not one thing and only one thing, but have a skill that is really, really good, especially if you're in the bottom six. And Frank is really fast. And as a forward, that's really important. And so this is why I was like, I understand the McCarron one a little more because at least he's 6'6". He has something that separates him. And so that's another reason why I like Frank is he's really fast. He's got a good shot. He can score off the rush. I mean, for a bottom six, 24-year-old, 2 years, $2 million, that's all good things all around for all sides, really.
Yeah, we'll keep going. Third trade that we got, fourth trade that we got was the Tyler Myers trade, which is when things I feel like really started to get going.
That was this morning. Yeah. Ethan Frank was this morning as well. Cole Smith was last night, and Ethan Frank this morning, and then into the Myers trade. And it was like, all right, like now the GMs have finally realized it's deadline season.
Yeah, it's like we were worried that we might not get 2 trades before the deadline. Like there was.
I was like, listen, that's probably going to create. I was like, that's probably going to create an electric deadline the way it's heading. But I'm like, you're just not going to see the same volume if you don't start early.
Yeah. That said, start they did.
They certainly did.
Like a guy that so we got Tyler Myers for a second, which kind of the going rate.
Second and a fourth.
Yeah. So
Myers is 50% retained. He's a UFA. Okay, you need to include all this information, dog. Myers, 50% retained, going to Dallas, make it for a 2027 second and a 2029 fourth round pick. Crazy. We're already trading 2029 picks, by the way. I like that for Vancouver, like a second and a fourth. That's good return. I actually don't mind this one for Dallas either, because like at least Myers is a good player. He'll be a really good penalty killer. And also it makes their decor be an average of 6'4", 211 pounds after acquiring him. So they got them big old boys over there in Dallas. They got them big old boys.
Okay, I thought you were going a different direction with that. I thought you started to go into like a Jamaican accent, and I was like, why are you a Jamaican?
I can't do a Texan accent, so I just kind of
go Jamaican and
Southern
then twang it a little bit.
I can, twang. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, a little twang.
Going forward, we had the Kiefer Sherwood extension 5 by 5.75.
That was a tough one, man. I really didn't know. I really couldn't get a feel on this, like whether it was a good deal or not.
Dude, he was playing in the AHL 2 years ago.
That's what I mean. But then he scored 30. He scored 30 last year, and he has 18 this year, and he's missed a bunch of time. Like it's like that's the thing is I'm like, if you look at his last 2 stats, this is a good contract. Except he's 31, I believe, has led the league in hits last year, and was on leading the league hits pace again this year. And
by those metrics,
and he's, but like 5 years, bro, for a guy who hits a ton, like that just feels like he's just going to deteriorate and needs some very quickly. They're going to be wanting to move. I actually, you know what I think? I've changed my mind. I don't think this is a great contract purely because I think very soon into their contention window is he going to be a player they're immediately shopping to clear up money when they pay Macklin and Will and Misa and Dickinson and probably sign or trade for a big boy.
But who knows? Maybe the cap's at like 120 by then, and 5.75 is just a third line.
It's supposed to be 130 in 2 years. So I guess actually you're right. That's not that much.
Like that'll be the going rate for third liners.
Yeah,
not too soon.
Yeah, and they have the cap space to afford it up front. I think 5 years for a 31-year-old who throws the body a lot every year worries me.
Yeah, well, he might get some like Brad Marchand treatment where it's like, okay, at the end of the contract, we kind of know that you're just
I mean, I bet you like last 2 years, bro, to take 2 years 5.75 in 3 years time, 4 years time, really technically, because this doesn't even start till next year. That's probably nothing. So yeah, you're right because the cap will make it irrelevant. I just think, yeah, you're right. It's fine. It's a fine deal, I think.
Yeah, it's about right.
You've convinced me. Yeah. All right. Then we got into some massive news. So first, Colton Parayko was reportedly traded to the Buffalo Sabres for Radim Murtka, who is the Sabres' first-round pick from last year, defenseman, as well as the Sabres' 2026 first-round pick. We got this report around 4:30, and it was like the deal's being sent to Parayko, up to him to waive his no-move clause. It was pretty much silent. Then around 6:30 p.m., 6:45, he's going to say no. Then around 7:15, 7:30, it was like, we don't know. There's been no answer. So we're just kind of left with this. We know what the deal is. We know both teams have accepted it. We believe Parayko may be rejecting it for his no move clause. I think that's probably just going to happen because thinking back to the Myers situation, we didn't really get much clarification until he was just traded to Dallas. So this whole deal could fall apart or it could be announced tomorrow.
I mean,
I don't know, but
it could also be like his agent talking to him and being like, look, like you're going to have a better team at least this year in Buffalo, and you're going to push for the playoffs. You're going to make the playoffs. You get to play in the playoffs. This is all not true for St. Louis. Like, take the deal. But nobody wants to play in Buffalo. So it's like,
yeah.
We'll see. We'll see what happens. I think there's some convincing that's trying to be done, which is why we're not getting an answer right away. Like, do you remember when we heard that who was it? It was Craig Oster. Shout out our family of a friend of a friend. Yeah, the Hurdle situation where it was like you had to convince Hurdle to go sign in San Jose.
Yeah.
That could very well be the same thing, except it's a trade now.
Yeah. I don't know. We'll see. I think it'd probably turn around and get a deal done. Because it really sounds like yesterday, Thomas plus. Okay, we'll get into this too. Because while we're on Buffalo and St. Louis, this is the time. So yesterday we heard tons of reports that like Buffalo and Thomas is closing in on Buffalo and St. Louis are closing in on a deal for Thomas. The reported deal, according to Jordan Schmaltz, was Owen Power, Consta Hellenius, another one of their first round picks from last year, and Murtka may have been 2 years ago. As I'm thinking about this, he was either last year or 2 years ago. Hellenius was definitely last year, and Jack Quinn was the reported deal. So Power, Hellenius, and Quinn for Thomas. Then it kind of seemed like it fell apart because I think St. Louis wanted another piece, and then there was a rumor that Parayko and Thomas, Buffalo was trying to get both of them. That didn't seem to work. That would be just too expensive, too infeasible. So they clearly then switched to Parayko, got a deal done, and then obviously as for the aforementioned holdup, doesn't sound like Thomas to Buffalo is happening anymore. So that feels like that brings us back to Utah and Anaheim, both who I believe have the cap space to bring him in. Even after the Weegar deal, I believe Utah still has the cap to get it done. I know for a fact that Anaheim does. But those are the other two teams who've been heavily rumored in, other than Buffalo. Yeah, Utah's $24 million cap, so Utah could get it done. And they didn't really have to give up any premium assets for Weegar. Yeah. What are your thoughts? I know
you have been yapping. No, it's all right. I don't know. It's weird. Like, it's weird that it sounded like Thomas was definitely going to the Mammoth, and then he was definitely going to Buffalo. And then now it's like saying there was reports that said like he's going to be like 80% chance that he doesn't get traded at the deadline, which like
I think St. Louis is asking for an astronomical price, and they're basically like, we want a Quinn Hughes-esque return for Robert Thomas, and we want a deal that like catapults us from a old team beginning a rebuild into like a team that's rebuilding, but like is not that far away. Yeah. Like I think they want the Thomas deal to do that, which is really hard. Like you're asking, they want 4 premium assets. Like they want basically 2 firsts and 2 prospects who are almost roster worthy. And I just think that's really hard for a team to give up that and not in the offseason.
Yeah, that's true. I
feel not like a Rantanen caliber player, like not a player who's top 20.
Well, I think for them, it's like, okay, if we're not getting the value that we feel that we really want out of him, we'll hold. They don't have a rush.
I think that's why the team, the Buffalo, Anaheim, or Utah, or Detroit, or Ottawa, like you're gonna have, or Boston, like you're gonna have to almost even think you're losing the trade to get it done. It feels like you're gonna have to be like unhappy with the amount you gave up if you're willing to get it done. It sounds like.
Yeah, it's not like he's a UFA. They're not actively trying to get rid of him.
Like they will hold him and just look again in the offseason again because he's 26. And like for all the reasons every team I think should want him as badly as St. Louis. Like, I don't know. for certain teams, like I'd
Well,
pull the
and
trigger.
they probably at the back of their mind is like, hey, like you never know, like the free agency we have.
I'm not gonna lie,
we
Utah, I'd pull the trigger. Given that they have Denway and Frundell who aren't playing yet, and Cooley who's already playing, like you don't need all three of them. Oh no, they don't have Frundell. What am I talking about? Frundell's in Chicago. But they have other prospects, and like if you move Denway, you don't need him because you have Cooley Thomas for the next 5 to 6 years.
That's true. That's true.
And so that's why I'd be willing to go Denway, your first this year, maybe even your first next year, and like Lamoureux or a like lower quality prospect. For Utah, I would do that. Anaheim less so because I think actually the roster's very similar. Anaheim, I do it. Buffalo, I wouldn't because I think that's too risky. Whereas like Anaheim and Utah have been clearly going like this for multiple years.
Yeah. I mean,
I do it for both.
Buffalo is the best out of the three teams right now. So
I know.
In terms of contention, it helps them. But I don't know. We could go back and forth on this for days. I feel like this is a discussion we're probably going to have come deadline day in 2 days now. 2 days away. It'll be 1 day once this is posted. Let's keep her going, though. We got lots of stuff to get through.
Yeah, you're right.
You're right. We got Uyghur as well. That was the one that I was really – I don't know. It was kind of like, wow, I didn't like hear anything about him, and then bang, he's like we heard like one thing at like around 5 o'clock, and then bang, he's traded. And the return's so interesting. Like you're getting a prospect.
Yeah, it's a really interesting because they really went more quantity over quality. They got 2026 seconds. They got they got Utah's. They got the Rangers, which is valuable. Like that's gonna be a pick in the 40s. And then they got Ottawa's, which is another interesting one, another team that could miss the playoffs. So they got potentially 2 picks in the 40s, right? And then one in the 50s, which and Jonathan Castagna, who's above point per game in college right now for Cornell University. He's got 32 points in 29 games. Like that's as a 20-year-old, that's good. Like that's a good college season. And then Mata, who I think they look to flip immediately. I don't know. I just think I would rather a first over those 3 seconds.
I don't know if I would with the Rangers second in there. That Rangers second could end up being the 33rd pick. It could, which is basically
theoretically. But like, say Utah's a wild card team right now. If every team were to lose in like the wild card, like every projected seed 1, right? We'll just say that in the current expected bracket, Utah would pick 18.
Okay.
I don't care if you're picking, 33 is nice. More likely 38. Oh, actually, what am I talking about? When I meant 40s, I meant 30s. And when I meant 50s, I meant 40s for the record. Like I that's what I meant. Like I meant Ottawa and New York could be picking in the 30s. I'd still rather that 18. Or even if they win a round, I think they'd probably be the worst team to win a round. So they'd probably be like 23. So you're really in a range of like 18 to 23, 24. And like I would rather that.
I don't know. Like it's hard. I mean, there's a chance there. Like if we're talking about percentage wise, like we know that those guys that go in after 20 are like make the league like what 20% of the time max.
Like, like 18 to 10%, 18 to 12%.
And then you get into the second round, early second round, it's like 9-8.
I guess I think
the odds to hit on one of those guys versus like a late.
If you pick in the 30s, if the 2 of them are in the 30s, I like really see it. I see the argument for wanting 2 seconds. It worked. I just think that's really risky.
It is. But who knows what the discussions were like? Maybe they wanted.
I love it for Utah. Whether you can debate the return whatever way for Calgary, for Utah, they are in the point where they have enough high quality prospects. They do not need second round picks to move 3 second round picks and get a first pairing defenseman and give up a B plus prospect to get a defenseman. Like that's unreal. That is really, really good. And that leaves them 24 million cap and all their firsts to move still.
Yeah.
Like even if you don't want to go Robert Thomas, you want to go Ryan O'Reilly, you can move a first and a third for O'Reilly, no issue. You know?
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
you're very open still. So for Utah, for that reason, I love it.
I agree. I think this is a perfect move. We've already talked about Uyghur's potential role on Utah. Yeah, I don't understand why Parayko couldn't get it done likewise. Like I guess they do have to trade in place, but
yeah. We'll see. I hope it gets done. I'm cheering for Buffalo this year. I really want them to do well. I think that's a massive addition. Like a top four of Darlene, Power, Samuelson, or Byram, probably Byram, and it'd probably be Darlene, Power, Byram, Parayko, like Clifton Samuelson, something like that. Like,
yeah,
that's nasty, dude. That's really, really good. Could even be Darlene, Parayko, Byram, Power. Like, that's nasty, man.
It is. That top four is nasty. And Clifton is like a hits leader in the league, too.
I know.
That's
good.
All right. We'll keep
there's one more trade. And this is, you want to talk about an interesting one in terms of that Utah one. The Edmonton Oilers trade Andrew Mangiapane and their 2027 first-round pick in exchange for Jason Dickinson, 50% retained to be their 3C, and Colton Dach, a depth forward who's only 23 and a pending RFA.
I absolutely love this move for Chicago.
Same.
Love it.
Me too. Dude, you took on a player who's making $3 million. He's making just over $3 million, and you got a first to take on his cap.
Well, only that, Mangiapane is a guy that can score, man. Like he's done it in the past. He's not
elevate him in the lineup, dude. I was totally fine with the Leafs bringing him in. Like I had no issues with that.
Compared to the role Dickinson had on their team, like Mangiapane is going to be playing like. Let me start with this. I think Mangiapane and Dickinson, when they swap places, the roles that they're intended to play when they go to those teams, I don't know if this all makes sense. I think they're both going to do a good job of it. I think Mangiapane on a team that doesn't have much scoring is going to be a great top six guy. I think Dickinson as a bottom six guy for Edmonton also going to be a great guy for them.
Yeah, I think Dickinson's a great 3C. He's basically what Henrique was before he got washed.
Yeah, I agree.
They just replaced Henrique with a better player. And I really think I'm not going to lie, it sucks Henrique won't waive his no move clause because that $3 million. I saw that if the Oilers send down Colton Dach in their seventh D-man, they have $2.275 million cap. Now imagine you could move Henrique and bring that up to $5 million cap. Man, that's why I'm like.
And you could go out and play.
Like that sucks. You could go out and play ball for another big.
Is it a total no move?
Yeah, like he said he's not moving it. Like they've stopped trying. That's why they had to use a first to get rid of Mangiapane, because he was the only clear guy that was going to save him money. And Henrique wouldn't waive. And now Lazar and Janmark are both out for the year, so they get a bunch of cap space. But they get like $1 million by $1.2 million by getting rid of both those. But still, it's like nothing. Like they're in tough, but they're reportedly not done. But I think Dach's an interesting pickup. I think
could they waive him, Henrique, or
they could put him on waivers, but they wouldn't. He's like too respected of a vet for them to do that. I mean, they could. If you put him in waivers, I think minors you can bury up to 1.2, I believe. So you'd get 1.2 mil extra on top of the 2.2.
If I'm then, well, actually, I'll leave that for a later discussion. But remind me to come back to this.
Okay. But anyway, I think Colton Dach's a somewhat interesting pickup. He's only 23. He has that bottom six build, and he's only 23. Like you could get a cheap young guy to play in the bottom six for the next 4 or 5 years. But otherwise, not much else to say. I think really Edmonton did what they had to do, but Chicago took advantage, and I love it.
Yeah.
All right. Let's
just. Do you want to
rattle off some? Let's just rattle off some rumors and updates. Right. I feel like
then
we won't really talk about them much. We'll just fire them off.
Sounds good. So similar to the Parayko situation, there was a deal in place for Garland that was dependent
also
on him
included
accepting.
Drew O'Connor. Sounded like as well from the Ducks.
But Garland declined. He said he didn't want to go to the Islanders, and so the deal fell through. I don't know if they're going to be able to move anything around that. So that kind of we had 2 people in on Garland, and that drops down to 1, which is the Bruins. And
Who was
I don't
other
know
team
if
in Northern
that's even
Ireland?
good. It was
Who was the other
the
team?
Islanders. It was the
And
Islanders
there's only
and the
no. There's
Bruins.
other teams who'd be interested in
Those
it.
were the two main. Yeah, I know there would be other
I
teams
know there's
interested, but those
behind the
were the main
scenes teams who
two.
are interested.
Yeah, but those are the two that we were hearing, and so the Islanders are pretty much out of the sweepstakes. It sounds like. Do you want to keep going?
Yeah. The next is tonight. The Leafs played the Devils, lost in a shootout. They scratched Scott Lawton, Oliver Ekman-Larsson, and Bobby McMahon they said roster management, which is really trade-related reasons. Does not sound like trade is impending for any three of them. Like, I don't think we're going to wake up tomorrow to one of them being traded, but it sounds like they're all trending for two of them being UFAs and Lawton and McMahon. Sound like they were all trending in the direction that they're going to be traded. So felt better. Why I better safe than sorry. And so it sounds like by being scratched, I'd expect those three are traded. Like if any one of those was a Leaf beyond Friday, I would be shocked. And that's all I have for that.
Okay. We'll talk about some goalies here. Bennington sounds like will 100% be dealt at the deadline. And the suitor that we're hearing right now is Vegas, and apparently they're wanting to take a big swing on him. But obviously Ottawa, like we've already talked about him a little bit. Ottawa,
Carolina. Yeah, they're all going to be interested.
Similarly, Bob's also in like Sergei Bobrovsky's also in that same market.
Yeah, they're fielding offers, and it is believed the Edmonton Oilers are on his no trade list. He's 12 team, I believe, and it is believed that they are on that, so that is relevant. Ottawa could potentially be too, but no word of Ottawa or Buffalo, or no word of Ottawa, Montreal, or Carolina.
He's going to Montreal, man. It's written in the stars.
And then last one is also Stuart Skinner. His name was definitely circulating early this week, like around Monday. His name was popping up again. Same teams would all be interested. I mean, there's 3 goalies and 4 teams that are in the goalie market. So you do the math. Like it would fit that all 3 could get traded. We'll see.
Yeah.
We'll see is what the answer for the next
for most things here.
48.
Yeah. Makes a content creator go crazy.
Yeah. We got a random report. Flames were interested in Arbor Jack Guy. Figured we'd throw that out there. Thought a potential maybe White Cloud Jack Guy swap. I could see that working for both sides. Probably more would be needed for Montreal, but I think that's a decent thing. And then also a little more Oilers talk. There is some smoke behind the Oilers being ultra aggressive in the final 36 to 24 hours. Talk of potential Darnell Nurse. Seen his name be floated around. Don't know much other than that, but it does not sound like the Oilers plan to be done or want to be done. Expecting them to essentially be throwing everything in the kitchen sink to improve this team for this year.
Yeah, I think. Okay.
Yeah, you got anything to add? I know I was trying to give you the ability to step in there.
Okay, yeah. We'll keep moving then. We kind of talked already about the Blues being a fire sale. It looks like the Leafs are going to join them. They're going to be the 2 teams that are going to be selling a lot of those bottom 6.
It looks like all the depth, and then it looks like all the depth OEL McMahon is available and probably going to be definitely entertained, traded if they can.
Yeah. Likewise,
like
prospect. Well, I shouldn't say prospects. Young players, Kent Johnson and Matthew Poitras have been made available.
And it feels like it's reported they're both more likely to be traded than not at this time.
Yeah, I think Poitras is definitely going to be involved in whatever big move trade the Bruins make.
Yeah. And then it sounds like Kent Johnson's kind of similar to Chinnikov, where both teams just like he wants out and Columbus is like, fine, we'll find a trade for you.
And then finally, the Wild have submitted an offer on Trocheck, which is worth watching.
Charlie Stremel, another prospect that's believed to be of high quality and a first-round pick, is the reported offer. I think that's the highest Minnesota got. And they're like, all right, that's it. That's the last offer we're willing to submit. New York, you feel that their offers, look it over. And it sounds like New York's going to trade him. So I think worst case scenario, they take that offer. But there's clearly another offer on the table because the Rangers handpicked the 2 prospects that the Wild are trading, I believe. So like they curated the deal to what they want. Now there's clearly another team interested, and they're clearly getting some interest out of them. I wonder Detroit. I wonder Carolina as potential teams. Maybe Colorado, but I really think Colorado's more on the Kadri front. Kadri or like more of a 3C front. Like I really think that's more what they're looking at.
Yeah.
And so we'll see. But I hope he gets traded to Minnesota.
Well, we've been saying we'll see all night. I think we should start making some predictions of our own. We've heard a lot, but I think this is going to lead us right into this section we're going to do next is basically where we think the biggest names are going to be sent at the deadline, ahead of the deadline. We'll see how we do. Maybe we'll do like a little post saying how our predictions went afterwards.
We'll definitely. I guess while Antonio kind of brought this up, so for content coming out, we have the trade board. We posted this yesterday on our Instagram. Put a lot of time into this, but yeah, it's kind of a list of the top 50 players we believe are most likely to be traded, teams interested, and kind of the most recent rumor or kind of update we've had on them. So that came out yesterday. Tomorrow we are releasing our trade deadline preview, which is more fantasy. We kind of took the top 14 fantasy relevant players, broke them down, explained why they'd be a good fit somewhere, why wouldn't be a good fit somewhere, what the player plays like. So expect that tomorrow. And then Friday morning, expect an updated trade board, as well as probably what you're about to hear on the podcast, essentially in a post for Friday. So that's kind of all that on at Fantasy Hockey Bucks on Instagram. Give us a follow, post daily content there. But yeah.
All right. Well,
let's get started.
Well, we'll get her going. We just talked about Minnesota, so it feels like I should lead off. I don't think they're going to get it done for Trocheck. Like what we've heard is that like they've kind of basically my interpretation of it is Minnesota's like, all right, so the Rangers were like, all right, so what's your offer, Minnesota? All right, we'll keep it in mind, and we're going to go and try and find a better offer. I think they will find a better offer. And I think that then leads Minnesota scrambling for a center, and I think their guy is Nazem Kadri. I think that's the guy that they're going to bring in.
That'd be interesting.
I don't know. I just think he has the skill to be like a main piece that's driving offense on a team that seemingly needs help up the middle. Like you got Oliver, not Oliver Ekman-Larsson. Help me out. Eriksson Ek. Who's the other guy that they got down the middle?
And then Hartman and Urov are their 2 and 3 Cs at the moment.
Yeah, which we'll see. Maybe Urov can develop down the line.
This year's the year.
Yeah, so I'd love to see Kadri there. Like obviously he's a guy that's put up point per game before. I don't know if he still has that in him, knowing that he's now 35. I think there are definitely people out there that are kind of worried about his contract, and that's kind of the holdup on hearing things about him, like we've heard on Trocheck and Thomas. He's looking at it. I think he's going to be 38 to 30 or 39 at the end of that contract, and people are kind of like not sure about wanting to swallow that whole thing. But I think he'd be a good fit on Minnesota for this year for sure.
Yep, I agree. So first guy I have kind of similar. I have Robert Thomas going to the Anaheim Ducks. Now I've kind of talked myself into Utah being just as good of a destination again. I kind of took them off after the Uyghur trade, feeling they'd kind of make their big move. But as I look at their team and prospects and what they gave up, they certainly have the ability to go get Robert Thomas and are certainly still in play for him, I think. But I think Anaheim gets it done. I think Anaheim clearly has Leo Carlsson as their 1C. They got McTavish as their 2C, but I'd expect him to be going back in the deal. That's why I think it works, is because I think Anaheim is willing. They almost traded him before they could get his extension done this offseason. Like, I think they're willing to move him. I think Thomas is clearly a massive upgrade over him. I am a big McTavish believer, but I think just be honest. He's a massive improvement. And I think you go first McTavish, Minchikov, who's also kind of wanted out, and you have a logjam at defense, so you don't really need him. And maybe you have to go another first. Maybe you can convince him to 2 seconds, something like that. Like Anaheim's willing to part with everything there, which Buffalo is not. And so that's why I think it works. and think it'd be a massive upgrade for them at 2C and would really like solidify them as, I mean, you could win the Pacific with that move.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna lie. Like I think they're second in the division right now. You could win the Pacific with that move.
For sure.
So
yeah, I think Thomas is just
go do it, Anaheim.
all right.
Give it, but do it on Friday. Do it on Friday.
On deadline day.
Yeah.
Well, we've already heard that whatever happens with Thomas is probably going to go on deadline day. Like it's
just too big of a deal to get like that. They're going to negotiate it in a day, essentially.
Yeah.
All right. Who's your number 2?
My number 2, we've already kind of talked about him, and I like it. It's Elias Pettersson to Detroit. I think it makes a lot of sense. I think they might need to get the Canucks to retain. I don't know if they'll do it. But if anybody's going to do it, it's going to be Stevie Yzerman. He'll find a way. He'll figure it out. Something to do. If anything, he'll give them a crappy contract back and say, "Hey, we'll figure out Pettersson's contract if you figure out this one." I'm excited to see what happens. I think Elias Pettersson as the 2C on that team behind Larkin, or even if they put him on the left wing with Larkin, would be unbelievable. Like, what a pairing.
Yeah. I certainly agree. All right. The second guy that I have on my list is Bobby McMann going to the Buffalo Sabres. I think it's clear they want to upgrade their forward core. I think if they acquire Parayko, they're right around the cap. Like if they bring him in and the deal that is reported happens, they have, how much cap space do they have right now? I'm pulling this up. That's the delay. So they have 7 million cap space right now. Parayko makes 6, I believe, 6.5, I believe, something like that. So that's taking up most of your cap to begin with. Now, so McMahon's making 1.3 mil. That's what makes him so attractive for 1 year, and the Leafs will retain Fitty on that. So you're getting an $800K third liner who can score 25 goals. Like, I think that's the Buffalo needs a third line scorer. It bumps Greenway really further down the lineup. And I mean, you could also play him up and move Zucker down. I think he's a very clear fit because there's multiple spots he could fit into. And I think he's really good. And with Edmonton kind of making a move for some forwards, I just don't see that one as much. And they don't have a first. And I know the Leafs want a first. So, yeah, we shall see. But I like Buffalo. I like Buffalo a lot because there's a multitude of spots he fits in, not just like one left wing spot.
Yeah, I like that trade as well. Although interdivisional is interesting. We'll see.
Yeah, but it's a rental. It's basically a pure rental, which is why I think they'd be willing to do that.
Yeah, fair enough. My third guy is the guy that the Bruins have been scouting all year. It's Owen Tippett. I think he's going to Boston. He's a guy I'd like to go to Boston. Please no to Connor Garland. I would take Owen Tippett about 100 times before I take Connor Garland if I'm the Bruins. And I think the cost it's going to be more for Tippett, but I don't think it's going to be that much more, honestly. Like, I think it was looking like a second plus for Garland, and I think it's probably going to be like around a first, maybe first in a prospect for Tippett.
I think Carlo-esque trade would be my guess. Like a first and a good prospect, but not like a elite prospect. Like Minton broke out, which made that trade so bad as it is. But like at the time, Minton was like a B+ prospect.
Yeah, it'd be like Will Zellers kind of level prospect.
Something like that.
Yeah,
like a prospect that you genuinely believe could develop, but is not like a top tier guy.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I prefer if they gave him Lysell because I still think he can develop, but
you prefer if they what?
They gave them Lysell than Zellers.
Yeah, we'll see. All right, the number 3 guy that I have is Jordan Binnington, and I have him going to the Montreal Canadiens. I think he's been a stud in that building in front of the Habs fans before. I don't think it'd be hard to convince him why you got him despite his numbers. I think he's only making $5 million for this. He's making $6 million for this year and next year. I think you can convince St. Louis to probably retain $2 million of that and get it down to $4 million. I think Jordan Binnington at $4 million, with knowing you got Fowler coming and you have Dobish already, You could probably feel pretty comfortable to move Montembeau in the deal, as we discussed about a potential Bobrovsky deal the other week, last few episodes ago. I think Binnington is cheaper. He's got it done before. He's been a dog in the playoffs, and he also gives you one more year. He lets Fowler develop for another year. Fowler's only 21 years old. That's rare for a goalie to be playing at 21. It's rare for a goalie to be playing at 22 as well. So to believe he's going to suddenly make this magical jump and be ready next year is a little extra. Like, look, Askarov played down the AHL for longer than I think almost everyone thought he should, and he's come up and been immediately NHL ready. I think you should do the same with Fowler. I think the second year of Binnington is why it makes so much sense. You get another year of Binnington at $4 million, maybe $5 million, with Dobish as the backup, and then it does not rush Fowler. It does not rush the system, and I think it's a great fit.
All right, I'm going to swap my 4 and 5 because we're already on the topic, and I'll give my next player. It's Sergei Bobrovsky to Montreal. So I mean, you make some good points. I could see how having 2 years of Jordan Binnington would be beneficial for them, but I think Bobrovsky's going to be, number one, a lot cheaper for them in terms of what they have to give up, which would be maybe more favorable. And also they'd have less competition on Bobrovsky. Like, I don't think any of the other players that we like, the teams that we had on the list, are really that into like a 1-year rental type guy. But I think Montreal, they have their goalie of the future, unlike other teams like Carolina.
Yeah, they're really in a good situation. Where like
they're in a great situation where, like, I think it's like, okay, you get a rental for 1 year. Maybe you make a run this year. If you don't, no worries. Maybe you're spending a second on Bobrovsky. I don't think you're going to have to spend any more than that. And Binnington, I think you'd have to probably give up.
I think, for the record, for cap purposes and for really purposes of both teams, I actually think Montembeau goes back in both of these deals.
Yeah,
I
agree.
You don't need 3 goalies if you're Montreal. Like, I think you picked Dobish because he's younger. He's been better this year. He was better. He was arguably better last year. I think he was their playoff starter last year. And so actually, I think him and Montembeau both played games. But anyway, yeah, I think Dobish is clearly the guy that you keep because he's younger, he's cheaper, he's shown more potential. And also, this is all contingent on Patrick Laine being traded as well, which I do believe will happen. But it is worth noting that, like, Montreal effectively cannot make a move if they don't move Laine. Like, they have to essentially just hold.
If they do move Laine, it opens up exactly enough cap for them to bring in Bobrovsky. Like, exactly to the T, I'm pretty sure.
And, I mean, if you move Montembeau back the other way, cap really is an issue. If you're moving Laine and then Montembeau goes back from the way for both these players, it's not an issue.
And it's important. It's important to note that there's already an offer in place for Laine with LA. Like, they already have a deal in place, but it's just on Montreal.
Just talk about this. This is Antonio's honorable mention.
Oh, yeah. Whoops. I forgot that was my honorable mention. But yeah, they already have a deal in place. That means that basically, if Montreal has something else on the table that they really like, they'll just fire that Laine off to LA. I'm assuming that what they're giving up to get rid of him is not ideal.
I did see he is retained 50%, which I don't think really matters because it still gets his number down to like 4, which is, I believe, low enough that, like, yeah, you can acquire a middle 6S guy or a bottom, like maybe a second pairing guy with that amount of money. But then, yeah, if you're moving Montembeau for sure in the deal, it opens up enough cap. And I really think he would be, for both money and for roster management purposes, think he would be moved.
Well, the thing is, I think that the only reason they haven't done it yet is they're like, might as well keep like our probably what it's going to be is like a second and Laine rather than get rid of them if we don't know for sure we're going to get somebody back. So I think they're just going to wait till they get something else and then instantly fire them off.
Yeah. All right, next guy that I have is Braden Shen, and I have him going to the New York Islanders. I think they reload after Connor Garland said no. Now, he has no move clause and could say no as well. But I think he's the perfect 3C behind Barzal and Horvat. He is terrific defensively. I think he's making money for about 2 more years. They've very clearly taken on money with players with term, despite them being older. I don't think that's what they should be doing, but that is what they're doing. And I think, Shen makes him a much better player. They have the assets to get him. It's probably not much more than a first, which is what I assume they're moving for Garland. Like, I expect the deal they were moving for Garland would be almost that for Shen. And I think, Garland's a little younger, but yeah. think Shen's still a good player. I did have Shen for Edmonton, but as we kind of crunch the numbers, he's making 6.5 for more than just this year. And I just don't see a world where they're able to fit that in the cap. So for that reason, I actually last minute switched it to the Islanders. But yeah.
My fifth guy, well, it's, we've actually done this pretty well. My fifth guy is Jake DeBrusk, and I think he's going to Edmonton back home. He is a player from Edmonton. I know you were just talking about how they don't have cap, but I think that they can make that happen. With all the talk about them having other deals in place, or not having deals in place, but really wanting to make moves over the next couple of days, I genuinely think that Nurse is actually a guy that's going to be getting moved. As they've already made moves, and it sounds like they want to make way more, like they want to be ultra aggressive, because they basically know if they don't do anything this year, especially if they miss the playoffs, Connor McDavid's probably gone. Like, you're losing the greatest player of our generation. I think Nurse is gone, and it's going to give them space to bring in a guy like Jake DeBrusk, who's a great scoring winger that can play in your top six, and alleviate some of that pressure off of like an RNH who had like having to play up the lines. You can really experiment with your lines at that point. Like, I would almost put, you could definitely put DeBrusk. You could go like DeBrusk, McDavid, Hyman, and then come back with RNH, Draisaitl, whoever else. I think
If
they might
can make the money work. I like the fit. Only issue is without a first, it really is hard for Edmonton. Like, they don't have a first round pick till 2028. Like, that's
DeBrusk hasn't been playing well enough to be worth necessarily all.
I know, but his term, which typically does make it a first, because like you have more years for it to work. They do have their 26 and 27 seconds, so maybe they went 2 seconds in a prospect. Like Bo Aki's pretty, like a guy that I've seen has been relatively highly touted. But yeah, I just think it's tough. Maybe Isaac Howard, they could go like a second and Isaac Howard.
Yeah.
I love the fit. I agree with everything you're saying. I just think we're not paid to do this, so we don't understand it as well as them. I just think it's going to be really hard for Edmonton to make any moves unless they move Nurse, really. But even still, that's why I'm saying assets.
I think that the more that I think about it, I think Nurse is gone. Because how else are they going to make moves? And they've been rumored heavily to be ultra aggressive, which what else could that mean? Like, they have to be thinking of making moves.
Yeah. Yeah.
And they've already got his replacement. They brought in Connor Murphy. You don't need Nurse on the second pairing anymore.
I know. I mean, Nurse is the only guy you can trade that like makes them be able to make moves. And it makes sense if he's just a bottom pairing guy now at this point. All right. My last guy is Jordan Kyrou. Talked about him before, obviously, he just needs rejuvenation. I think Detroit's the place. Detroit is heavy buyers. They have all their picks. They have a ton of prospects. Kyrou's on a reasonable deal. He'll probably be a winger. He provides you that second line winger that you really need. Like, you have Kane who's doing it, but like, come on, bro, it's Kane. He's old. Like, you get that second line scoring winger that you really need. Obviously, it doesn't solve the center issue, but like, he's just such a good player at such a good cap hit at only 27 years old. And with all the money that you have, they have like 40 million cap. Like, it just feels like a no-brainer. And he's going to be less than Thomas. He's probably a first in 2 seconds, something like that. That gets it done. A first, second, or prospect. Like,
yeah.
I just think they need to do that. Last thing, they also are in the market for defensemen. I think they move a first and a B prospect for Ekman Larson. I think he's cheap. He's the type of deal that they always make for defensemen. They always go veteran cheap. And they said they want guys with term. He's got 2 years left. He's been really, really good for Toronto, honestly. Like, really good. Like, a really good second pairing guy. And so I think you missed out on Myers. I think Ekman Larson would probably waive for Detroit, and I could see that. And also, if they add those two guys, they had like 10 million cap. And they get significantly better on the second pair, second line. Like, that feels like a no-brainer to me.
Yeah, I like both those moves for Detroit. And I think that they could, Eisenman could be really sneaky at this deadline. I think there's a lot of pieces that are
they got a lot of cap, which most contenders don't. And so that really leaves them open for a lot of players.
I agree. All right. With that said, let's get into our final segment of the day. What is on your mind? All right, so for this segment, we're just going to talk about things that we've done this before. We're going to talk about things that are on the top of our mind that haven't exactly fit into the other segments that we've been talking about today. I've got a couple. I don't know if you wanted to add anything. My first one for today is I've heard rumblings. I don't know if they're from genuine insiders about Jason Robertson being moved at the deadline. And
You mean
Brady
Robinson?
Tkachuk. Robinson.
Yeah, we saw this first from the Chicklets. Yandel said it and said Robinson multiple times. This is an interesting one. I guess I immediately need to pose the question: who do you think's better? Because Jake and I had this conversation. Shout out Jake, guy, famous member of the pod.
Ooh,
we were having a conversation about who is better, and he was like, "Oh, I think Brady's better for sure." And I'm like, "Dude, that's crazy because I would rather Jason Robertson." I was like, "I would 100%." I was like, "I think it's close, but I'd rather Jason Robertson." And then he was like, "Brady could," and then I think he was like Brady Kachuk's like a top 10 player. And I was like, that's a diabolically bad
that's insane. We're not going to debate that because he's not.
That's a diabolically bad take, I thought.
But I don't know. Like, I think Robertson is a point generator is better.
Jake does make a point. Shout out Jake, though. Shout out Jake. And we had a good discussion about this. I just didn't want it to come across that I was shitting on him. That's all.
Okay, yeah. Fair,
that's all.
Fair,
I'm sorry. That's all.
Fair. We love Jake.
He's my boy. He's my boy. I love him.
But Robertson is a point getter, I think, 100% better than Brady Tkachuk. Mainly because Brady
had like 65 points.
Eats crayons. But at the same time, it's good to have somebody who eats crayons sometimes because he's going to go into the corner. He's going to hit somebody just to hit somebody.
I know.
Which all-around game of
that was his argument. Was that Brady has a skill set that almost no other player in the league has. Which I was like, that's a fair argument.
I don't know about no other player in the league. I think a lot of players have that skill set. They're just generally bottom sixers that aren't able to score. So
that's his point. That's his point. That like he plays like a bottom six grinder and has the talent of a first line winger. That's his argument, which I was like, it's fair. But I'm like, Jason Robertson is a 50-40 guy who's great at defense, who's done it in the playoffs, and needs new contract, but that does not affect it. And he's younger, I think. So it's just like they're around the same age, but I'm pretty sure he's a little younger. Like also, I would just rather Robertson.
If we're talking about fit, like especially on Dallas, Jason Robertson,
and he doesn't take 150 penalty minutes every year. He doesn't get like 150 to 180 penalty minutes every year.
If you look at the makeup of the rest of Dallas, like they have hitters, they have those guys. Like I don't.
Yeah, they got more grinders like Ben and Duchesne.
Whereas like
the only reason I think they do that is Brady signed. Brady signed to a good deal long term, and the Robertson contract is becoming an issue.
Okay, but you look at this. Okay, I'm looking at fit right now, but like you look at the Senators, they kind of need a guy that.
I understand that, but the only reason they would do that is because he signed. Like that is the reason there's a fit, because you know what you're getting for multiple years at a good number. Whereas like Robertson is a where the hell is he? He's an RFA after this year, and he was only making $775
for nothing.
I get that, but like, okay, if you, I think the offer sheet for a 12 mil, I think is like 3 firsts, which is good. Don't get me wrong, but like that's not. But when you want to win, you'd rather Brady Tkachuk than 3 firsts.
Yeah, that's true.
That's what, and so yes, you could argue it's not a good fit, and I don't disagree. Robertson's a better fit,
but my point is, if I'm the Senators, I don't do it.
I think Robertson's better. That's why you do it. You'd have to pay him. You have to pay him a lot, but like Robertson's better.
Thank you. First of all, Brady Tkachuk plays a specific role in that team. In that, I was getting to this before you cut me off. The Senators players down like
shot.
Okay, well, down the lineup, you don't have a lot of rough guys. Like they've lost a lot of those guys that they've had in past years. Kostelich is gone. I'm going to draw blanks after that because I just know the guys that the Bruins got for them. I don't know why
you shouldn't have said that. But I mean, they got Cousins. He mixes it up. They got Pinto. Pinto and Greg mix it up. Michael Motti will mix it up. A lot of them are Claude Giroux will mix it up. Curtis McDermott will mix it up. Nick Cousins will mix it up.
Bro, what do you mean mix it up though? Like
do what Brady does. Like throw the body, fight someone, get the team fired up, give them something to cheer about.
Not every player does that. That's cap.
McDermott's one of the biggest fighters in the league.
Okay,
Amadio fights too. Ridley
Gregg
doesn't fight, but Ridley Gregg and Pinto like get in your face after whistles, having just played him in a series.
Okay, and get in your face. I don't care about getting in your face. Any player can do get in your face.
But they hit him too.
Actually being effective, checking, hitting.
Dylan Cousins and Shane Pinto, their 2 and 3C are nasty at that. And they got a big decor, bro. Mantipalo, Clevin, Zub, like those guys throw the body.
Like I'm thinking about guys that are like big time hitters. I'm thinking like Jamie Benn, like the guys that we have on the Stars. I got to pull up their lines because I don't know all their lines off the top of my head. But I think especially for the Senators, like Tkachuk's your captain. And the role that he plays on that team, being a captain that leads by example and being a guy that leads by example through physical player that doesn't go away game over game, that's a really important piece to have if I'm the Senators. I think
for the record, Dylan Cousins has 163 hits.
Okay.
Like
I think both sides would want to keep their pieces. Is my point here. Like I think that Jason Robertson's
You want to know why I think that would fit? I think Ottawa gets better and Dallas gets security. Shane Pinto has Dylan Cousins has 60 more hits than Brady Tkachuk.
Okay.
And I only looked at him.
Okay.
Meaning like, dude, Brady Tkachuk only has 109 hits.
Look at his previous years, though. This year's not the only year we're talking about. 1 year's not everything.
Okay, but I get that. But like this year is the most important. Would you not agree?
Sure, I would. But if we're saying Tkachuk only has 109 hits, then you maybe consider him not like that much of a hit.
Where is ESPN? Where is the hit category? But that was your whole argument, was that he throws the body, he's aggressive, he fights. And if I just listed other players who are already doing that for Buffalo or for Ottawa, what am I talking about? Your argument of like,
first of all, we're not
he's leaving. He's your captain. That's the biggest argument about him leaving. But like, if you're saying he leaves a void, but I think he does. Doing what you said he's doing. Does.
He is.
I don't know, man. I think Jason Robertson's a better player. I think Jason Robertson goes in there. I think Jason Robertson goes in there and scores 55 goals. What do you mean he's not a hits guy? That's your whole argument. You literally said he throws the body. And what else do you want to talk about for physical?
I know.
If you're not physical, you don't hit.
I said, let's not argue that Brady Tkachuk's not a hits guy.
I mean, he has 109 hits
That's a stupid argument to have.
He has 109 hits this year. The stats suggest he does not get that many. He's not getting that many hits this year.
Buddy, volume versus actual like quality is also
every other year other than this year he's been a big hits guy. But like, that's still he's not doing it this year.
That's a stupid argument to have, honestly, dude.
You want to know why it's a fit?
Tkachuk's not a hits guy.
It's a fit because Jason Robertson makes him a better team right now than they are. Jason Robertson makes them a better team tomorrow than they are right now, and Brady Tkachuk gives the Stars long-term stability that they don't get from Jason Robertson.
I don't necessarily think that Jason Robertson, like, I think he would get points for that team. I don't know that he helps that team win more games. But I'm not saying that Jason Robertson's a worse player than Tkachuk. I get that. He is a better player, but I just don't think
I get that. But like you win by scoring goals and scoring more goals than the other team, not by hitting the other team more. Brady Tkachuk, listen to Brady Tkachuk. Okay? 45, 44, 36, 67, 83, 74, 55, 40. Those are his career point totals. He had 50 points in 72 games last year.
Okay.
He had 55 points in 72 games last year. Jason Robertson has been a 100-point scorer and is on pace to do so again this year. Like, that is a 30-point better player than Brady Tkachuk has ever been. And also, he's been in the conference finals 3 times. He's been to the Cup. He's been to the playoffs, I think, probably every year of his career. Brady Tkachuk's been once, and he's going to miss it again this year. So maybe following the crayon eater who's in the box for 200 minutes a season because he can't control his temper and also is only scoring you 55 goals, like not 55 goals, but you get what I'm meaning. Jason Robertson scored more goals than he had points last season. And he scored more goals in a single season than he had points. Like
Okay.
he is a much clearer, better player that stays healthy, will help them win on a nightly basis, and will get them in the playoffs. Which
Well,
Brady Tkachuk is
here's
not
my
doing.
argument. I think Jason Robertson can 100% score points. I think he can do that just fine. But like helping the team win doesn't mean just scoring your own goals for them. It means helping other people.
He's a great defensive forward too. His advanced measures on defense are nasty. He's better than Tkachuk at defense too.
Sure, but also like
so he scores goals and plays good defense. What else do you need?
Changing the momentum.
Oh, shut up with that. Yeah, Ryan Reeves did a great job of that for Leafs, bro. Got us out of a whole one. I
never said
round.
Ryan Reeves was the guy that you guys should pick up. I never said that was a good move.
But that's such an overblown argument that he helps the locker room. He mixes up the momentum. Like, dude, yeah, sure, he goes and runs someone from behind, and then he gets a 10-minute misconduct, and he's taking a fucking zin in the penalty box because he's not on the ice. But Jason Robertson scored 2 goals in the power play you just gave him.
You can't score 2 goals on one power play, bro.
If you get a major, you can.
Okay, well.
I said runs him from behind. The point was that like he does
if it's a major,
stuff.
He wouldn't be. Okay,
the stuff that you're like, oh, it gets him in the game, man. It fires him up. It fired him up to make a whole 1 playoff run in 8 years.
Sure, but that's not just on one player.
I get that, but when you're the leader and you're the guy who's responsible for getting him there and you're putting up 55 points in 72 games.
Okay, that's like 70-point pace.
55 points in 72 games, Antonio. He's not scoring 15 points in the final 10 games of the year when he's been under point per game the whole time.
Okay, so it's like 65 points. But still.
He's still not getting 10 points in his last 10 games. Like he's getting like 8 points. It's like a 63. Okay, 63 and 82, dude. That's bad. For your captain, that's bad.
That's one season. That's what
he had 74 the year before. He had 74 the year before.
Yeah, exactly.
That's not that good, bro.
Okay, again, I didn't argue that he was a better player than Jason Robertson. I think he's a better player for this.
I get, but your argument of like why he fits Ottawa better is not, it's just, I disagree with it, I guess. I disagree with the fact that like being able to throw a hit and change momentum and make an impact, not scoring or on defense is massively overrated. And just give me the player who's going to be better and going to score more goals.
Okay. We can be different, but a lot of let me just say, a lot of the Leafs have been able to score more goals over the past seasons,
and we made the playoffs every single time. And we switched to a momentum, and we switched to a let's get a guy who's going to throw a hit and change momentum organization. We missed the playoffs for the first time in 9 years.
You did it poorly because you got shitters that do that.
Buddy, Colorado won the cup by being just the most skilled team. Tampa won the cup by being just the most skilled team.
Dude,
Vegas won the cup.
Tampa did not win the cup by being the most skilled team. Did you see their decor? Their whole decor was like 230 pounds, 6'4".
No, they sucked, bro. Their decor was like Nick Perbix and Blankenberg and Radish when he wasn't good, and Hedman who was all offense, and then Chernak and McDonough. Like,
yeah, they were huge. There was a whole discussion about this.
Yes, I get that. But is Brady Tkachuk a forward? No. Having a big lumbering decor that shuts you down. But look at their forwards. Point, Kucherov, Stamkos, like guys that put the puck in the back of the net that are really good. That was their forward core, not guys who ran people through the glass and got in fights.
You know who they added that year? Tanner Jeannot.
No, they didn't. Not the year they won the cup. No, they didn't.
Was it not?
No,
I'm pretty
sure they added Blake Coleman the year they added Blake Coleman and Barclay Goodrow the year they won the cup. I guarantee, dude, I would bet my Fantrax fantasy team that I'm right.
Are you ready? Are you ready to lose your Fantrax team? All right, I gotta find it.
They made the cup in 2022 and they traded for Jeannot in 2023. They won the cup. I think they may have they didn't make the cup that year. They didn't even make the cup the year they traded for Jeannot. You realize they won the cup in the bubble and then the year after, which was also still the bubble year when they beat the Habs. I'll just go on my phone while you prove I'm right.
Yeah, it's oh my God, bro. What the heck?
Fuck out my face, bro.
What the heck, man? Dude, that's the year that they lost to you in the playoffs. What the fuck?
Yeah, your years were way off. They won their first cup, Antonio, in the bubble.
Yeah, which is 2020, 2021.
No, it was 2019, 2020. That's the first year they won the cup. Because that was when we were, yes. Because the season, yeah. Yes. Because that was the year that the season stopped and then it finished in August. And then the next year when we were in the North Division was 2020, 2021. They also won the cup beating Montreal that year. And then the next year, the first normal year, 2022, 23, when we were in grade 11, they lost to Colorado.
I thought they made 3 straight finals.
They did. They lost to Colorado in 2022, 23. And then in 2023, 24. No, 2020. Sorry, I'm skipping a year. I'm skipping a year. 2020, 2021, they won. 2021, 2022, they lost. 2022, 23, they traded for Jeannot and lost to us in the first round.
Yeah.
Because remember, that was the whole thing. They lost to Columbus, got swept by Columbus after winning the President's Trophy, made 3 cups, and then lost to us to give us our first round win in like 17
That doesn't
years.
make that. Oh, yeah, because it's 18-19 when they got swept, right?
Yeah, that was like the whole argument. They're like, Tampa's mini dynasty was squashed by the 2 biggest, most embarrassing losses in the first round of all time. Yep. Ball knowledge, kid. Anyway, agree to disagree, I guess, on this one. You're more of a Brady Tkachuk on your team.
Really,
guy. I'm more of a Jason Robertson on your team guy.
Really, what it is you're a Leafs fan. I'm a Bruins fan. That's really what it comes down to. You watch skilled.
I believe in the philosophy that skilled forwards is the way to go. I think we never built the right D-core for the forward core we had. Was really our issue. Was that we never had a D-core that fit our forward core.
Yeah.
Like if you give us it's a
whole other discussion to talk about.
I know, I get that, but like if you give us Tampa's defense, which monetarily would have fit the money roughly, because like Hedman made around what Riley made at the time, and like Brody and Chernak were making around the same. Like it would work roughly. Say it would work. Say the money worked. I bet you a Tampa's D-core and our forward core were a much different team. Much different team. A true number 1 defenseman. And a big D-core that can shut it down. No, keep our goalies. I'm literally just talking D-core. We never built the right D-core when we had the prime forward core.
I mean, you can talk about hypotheticals all you want.
Still same amount of cups in the time we've been watching hockey.
I watched the Bruins
really watching hockey. Like really watching hockey, dude. Not when you're 6 years old watching with your dad in your diapers. Like that doesn't count. Okay,
I watched them beat you guys in the greatest.
I'm talking about watching hockey where you could name almost every player on the ice in any given game. They've won the same amount of cups.
Yeah, we went to the cup.
Still won the same amount. And was that the worst loss you've ever witnessed?
Yes.
Yeah, exactly. So still been in the same amount of cups, or still won the same amount of cups, and who's been scarred more? All right. I don't got anything to say. We're approaching 2 hours again. We're approaching 2 hours again.
Yeah.
And, we got a lot to say pre-deadline. I can't blame us. But really, once deadline season's over, we'll be much more normal episodes. Much more natural flow. We figured out, though, we rallied the troops after that. Not the best start, but, we rallied the troops. I think we finished strong.
I always feel like we finished strong.
All right. Let's move on, man, and let's go to sleep.
All right. Do you want to hit on that last topic, or do you want to end it here?
I mean, Antonio's questioning why the insiders keep leaking the trades before they go to the no move clause, because someone leaks in the organization the fact that they've made this trade, but it takes time for them to be like, text Parayko and be like, hey, what do you think of this deal? He's not going to be like, he's not going to look at it and be like, I want to do it. Like, or I don't want to do it. Like, he's going to go talk to his family. He's going to talk to his agent.
Yeah, but it feels like previous years, it's not been as much.
The no move clause has become a much more prevalent thing as teams are realizing that you can give a no move clause and take some money away. Like, dude, in 2019, I guarantee you Connor Garland doesn't have a no move clause. Guarantee you. Braden Shen doesn't have a no move clause. Like, the middle 6 guys never used to get no move clauses. Teams have just realized by giving them partials and fulls that you can get money off.
Yeah. I mean, I guess that's true. It's just, it's really bad. Like,
it's annoying. It's really, really
like,
annoying.
especially like Connor Garland not moving.
And also, actually, this is another thing. Teams have money. So players with term are a lot more available than they've ever been in the past. Like when teams at 800K in cap space and you have to triple retain a player just to make him fit under the cap, one player, you couldn't even think about acquiring some guy who had 5 years left on a deal. Whereas now the fact that every team has 12, most wild card to third place teams have around 8 to 12 million cap. You can acquire a guy with term now.
I mean,
so that also gets us into no move clause players.
I'm hoping that means that we're going to get more hockey trades because
I think it does. But the only problem is money isn't the issue. Money isn't the issue. And for true hockey trades, you need to have like a competitor trading with a competitor. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Not like a rebuilding team trading with a competitor.
You could have a rebuilding team trading with a rebuilding team.
With a rebuilding team. That you could. Really, it's the like wildcard team making a trade with the wildcard team. Those are the ones that you can get hockey trades, like Dylan Cousins for Josh Norris. You know?
Yeah. Yeah. All right. I'm going to call it there. I think that's a wrap on the episode. We'll be joining you bright and early. I think probably 9 a.m. I mean, actually, you won't hear it, but like 9 a.m. on Friday, we're going to be up.
We're planning to be up at 8:30, start at 9, stop recording at 3:30. Antonio will be in and out at the start. I'll be kind of in and out at the end. I got a haircut. Antonio has an exam. I got to go early for an exam. But for one of us will be there the whole time. Two of us will be there for the majority of the time. And
I mean, it's going to all be clipped down for you guys by the time you see
exactly.
it.
So yeah, it'll be clipped down to, I guess, I was yapping, dude, about irrelevant stuff. But yeah, it'll be clipped down to just reactions and stuff. But mostly, I guess, if you only hear reaction from like one person, that's why.
Yeah. But we will in our next Wednesday episode, or I guess next Thursday episode, I should say. We'll review everything together that we missed, or I guess we could do it after if somebody joins back. Anyway, too much yap. We'll see you in our next episode. Thank you all for joining us, and we'll catch you the next time we drop the puck. Have a good one, everybody.